at 10. This is Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
We begin tonight on the growing conflict in the Middle East. Israeli officials say they're at war after a surprise attack by Hamas militants this weekend. Thanks for joining us tonight for the Fox 61 News at 10. I'm Brent Harden.
And I'm Sarah Sanchez. Tensions have only escalated since Saturday's initial attack. And since then, hundreds of civilians in both Israel and Palestine are dead, and thousands more are wounded. Included in that casualty count, at least 11 Americans. But officials warn that number could grow. The attack started at sunrise Saturday morning with thousands of rockets fired from the Gaza Strip. They struck Israeli towns near the Gaza Strip and major cities like Tel Aviv and Jerusalem.
And just 1 hour after the barrage started, the Israeli Defense Force says Hamas fighters crossed from Gaza into southern Israel. They reportedly attacked a music festival, indiscriminately killing at least 260 attendees. Israelis were told to shelter in place. Many have been taken prisoner by Hamas. In the hours after the initial attack, Israel had mobilized its military to fight back both on the ground and in the skies. They have responded with missile strikes in the Gaza Strip and say that they have drafted 300,000 reservists as they continue to go on the offensive. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says Israel has only just started its strikes against Hamas. He says the Palestinian militants will feel the repercussions of their attack on the Jewish state for generations.
We have only started striking Hamas. What we will do to our enemies in the coming days will reverberate with them for generations.
We're talking about elderly and sick people, children, women, not combat soldiers. Hopefully, we'll be able to get them back.
The attack by Hamas has been described as unprecedented in its scope. The Israeli government has now, announced a complete siege of the Gaza Strip with no food or fuel being allowed in. At least 900 Israelis were killed and an estimated 560 Palestinians have died in retaliatory strikes by Israel.
Here in Connecticut, people have been gathering and holding rallies to show their support for the people of Israel.
And that includes West Hartford, where hundreds came together outside of Town Hall, and that's where we find Fox 61's Gabby Molina tonight. She joins us live now with more on what the community had to say there. Gabby?
Brent and Sarah, several members of this community have connections to Israel, and they say that they've been getting firsthand accounts of what's been happening there over the last few days, many of them coming together today to denounce the violence. From thousands of miles away, people living in Connecticut with loved ones in Israel have spent the last few days watching the violence unfold.
Sadness, a deep sadness, anger, and a little hopelessness because you feel like you're so far away. What can we do? You know, it feels like everything's just chaotic and aimless.
It's what Lisa Plavin of Manchester says she's felt as well, with her daughter and family living in Israel.
We talk several times a day, and she tells me when a siren goes off and they're going into a safe room, and then she tells me when it's over.
Plavin sought the comfort of being around others on Monday at a rally outside of West Hartford's Town Hall in support of the people of Israel.
It was very important that we show a presence of support for our beloved Israel, but we also needed one another.
Local leaders also standing in solidarity.
We are here. We're here not just today. We're not just here tomorrow. We're here forever to protect the freedom and peace for Israel and all those who are being under assault.
While West Hartford has a large Jewish community, those at the rally called on others to stand with them as well.
Just getting together, banding together with not just the Jewish community, but the greater community in standing against injustice and these atrocities.
As the violence overseas continues, so will the focus on safety here in Connecticut, with increased security at synagogues and Jewish community centers around the state.
The police department locally, and we have a coordinated effort for that. Second of all is with hired security, and the third is with volunteered security, sort of organically from the community.
And community members say they will continue to support each other as well.
There is no doubt that there are very difficult days ahead, really difficult days ahead, and we need to hold each other tight.
Connecticut's U.S. Senators Richard Blumenthal and Chris Murphy also attended the rally, showing their support for Israel and saying that they are going to seek to provide the country with any aid that they may need in the war. Live in West Hartford, Gabby Molina, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
All right, Gabby, thank you. Senator Richard Blumenthal says there are no confirmed Connecticut citizens either killed or taken hostage at this time. President Biden has condemned this weekend's attacks by Hamas and has sent an initial round of military aid to Israel. That includes a U.S. aircraft carrier, which is standing ready in the Mediterranean. Additional munitions and equipment are also being set to be delivered. Senator Blumenthal says there will be an additional funding package and that he expects it to be bipartisan once it arrives in Congress.
We're closely following any and all developments from Israel as the conflict continues. Make sure you don't miss any updates, so scan the QR code there on your screen for a link to download the free Fox 61 News app. You can also stay up to date on all news and weather in your community on fox61.com. Turning to the forecast now, certainly closer to fall outside. Feels more like it than last week.
It feels chilly.
Yeah.
Let's check in now with Chief Meteorologist Rachel Frank for the latest. Rach?
Yeah, the reality is this is October weather, but compared to last week, it is certainly a shock to the system. We've got clear skies overhead tonight, and we'll see temperatures once again dip back into the 40s and even some in the upper 30s as we head towards daybreak tomorrow, although that will be the exception. There has been a hit or miss shower out there tonight, and that will be the case overnight and into tomorrow as well. Most of the state stays dry, but there could be a light shower or sprinkle in spots. Here's a look at overnight lows. Close to 40 degrees in Hartford, upper 30s possible for Windham, and we're looking at low temperatures in the mid to upper 40s for the Connecticut shoreline. Tomorrow we'll see a mix of sun and clouds, so it won't be as bright and sunny as it was when you woke up this morning. I think we'll see more clouds overall, but temperatures will be very similar, climbing into the lower to middle 60s as we head through the afternoon. Again, that chance for a sprinkle or light shower in spots, and another chilly night ahead for tomorrow night. We're going to do this all over again right through the rest of the work week. We're talking about temperatures in the afternoons in the 60s, low temperatures in the 40s at night. So we are really settling into this October stretch of weather. Makes sense for this time of year. But of course, the next chance for steady rain is, you guessed it, over the weekend. We'll take a closer look coming up.
All right, Rachel, thank you. Well, new at 10 tonight, 2 teenagers are fighting for their lives in Norwich after being hit by a pickup truck while riding a bike. Taftville Fire and Norwich police responded to Hunters Avenue and East Pratt Avenue around 1 p.m. today. Police say both teenagers needed medical attention for serious injuries and are in the hospital tonight. The driver of the pickup truck was not injured and is cooperating with police. A photo from the scene in Norwich here showing Taftville firefighters lifting the pickup truck off the bike that was trapped underneath. Fortunately, those teens were not trapped under the truck.
It was a violent day in Connecticut's capital city. 2 separate shootings. 1 teenager is dead and 2 people are in the hospital. We'll take you to Roxbury Street first, where police say shots rang out near the intersection of Fairfield Avenue. It happened around 5:30 this morning. Both a man and a woman in their 20s were sent to the hospital with gunshot wounds. They're expected to survive, but police are still investigating this incident. And later in the day in Melton Way, a 15-year-old boy died in a drive-by shooting. This happened in the middle of a neighborhood in broad daylight. Police are still searching for their suspect here. Fox 61's DeAndrea Turner has been following this story all afternoon. She joins us live from Hartford Police Headquarters with what happened. DeAndrea, what's the latest?
Hi, Sarah. We now know the name of this 15-year-old young man who was killed today. It was Jordan Luna. Now, police say that he was not killed in the neighborhood that he lived in. But either way, tonight his mother is grieving the loss of him, and this community is really shaken up.
It's scary. It's scary.
A drive-by shooting at 18 Melton Way in Hartford left 15-year-old Jordan Luna dead.
The younger they are, of course, the more it hits home.
This 14-year-old girl was outside just moments before the shooting happened.
I just heard more than 5 rounds go on, just shooting.
Police say the shooting happened at 1:27 this afternoon when a person in a white car drove by and shot the victim. They were notified simultaneously from a ShotSpotter camera and 911 calls coming in. This woman, who didn't want her face shown on camera, says the shooting happened right in front of her home.
It was scary because in the same breath it was like he's laying there screaming for help, but all I can think about was my babies being outside.
The pain of losing a loved one is something all too familiar for her. The father of her children, Deshaun Coleman, was killed in 2017. The case is still cold.
I've been grieving for 6 years now, and yet my killer is still on the loose. It's mind-blowing. when are they going to stop? No one wants to bury their child. No parent should have to bury their child.
Now a mother is left grieving the death of her 15-year-old son.
How do you think she's holding up? Right? Not well.
And community members trying to process.
It's hurtful as a parent. I'm praying that God gives her the strength because she's going to need it all.
You're a 15-year-old and then you're just walking around and then you just get shot. Like, that's just scary. You're that young and you didn't even get to live old enough. Like, that's, ugh. Oh no, I don't like that.
And this is the second time this year that a minor has died in a drive-by shooting, the first happening in April, where the 12-year-old girl was not the intended target. That case is also still cold. Now, officials are asking if anyone has any information on this case tonight to please come forward. In Hartford, DeAndrea Turner, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
All right, DeAndrea, thank you. We have much more coming up here on the news at 10.